Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to week 5 of the ECAC's Marvel Rivals season. I am Inferno, joined once again by my fellow caster Althea, and we have Beldia observing for us tonight. How's it going tonight, Althea? What are you looking forward to?
It's going pretty good. I'm excited to see how these teams are going to interact tonight. We have two Division A teams. First, on the top, we have RIT Orange out of the Rochester Institute of Technology from Rochester, New York. They're currently 1-2 with their last game being a loss, so they're looking to bring themselves even tonight. On the other side here on the orange team, we have SSU, or Shawnee State University, out of Portsmouth, Ohio, also 1-2, but they won their last game, so they're looking to continue this streak going.
Absolutely carry that momentum over into this week now. Going to be taking on a formidable team in RIT Orange. We did see this team last summer when we were doing our Marvel Rivals tournament. Haven't heard too much of them since, but some recognizable names and a very strong team core should be able to bring you pretty far into this ECAC season. As we get off with these picks and bans, we're seeing our first two bans. SSU going for the Mantis, RIT going for the Venom, and then the two saves for Emma Frost and Hella so far.
Yeah, I can definitely understand those saves. Those are very powerful characters, ones you definitely want to keep just in case. Great counters to a lot of characters. The Venom and the Mantis definitely a little, I won't say off meta, but not something we're used to seeing. The Jeff, however, I mean, we always joke about it, but I'm pretty sure our last week's match and the week before that has been showing that Jeff can really be a pretty formidable foe. So it's unsurprising to see that banned. It just sometimes feels like if there's not really anybody that's going to play him, the bans can probably go somewhere stronger. However, we will see the Invisible Woman banned from the side of RIT, and I assume that's just, I don't know, maybe trying to shut down the ground for a possible Fantastic Four team up, maybe just generally an overall very strong support, as well as a Namor ban trying to answer to that Hella save, forcing that team up for themselves, I guess.
Yeah, certainly. I'm one to favor this Invisible Woman ban. We have seen in the past weeks just how formidable she can be. That invisible boundary being that wide AoE team heal plus going invisible is just too nice to pass up on. Here they're going to be forced to pass it up. We see SSU save the Cloak and Dagger, but ban out the Rocket Raccoon. Not too many support options here. We're seeing a lot more support bans coming out from these two teams here. And I think limiting that support role, I don't know. That is definitely a call.
It's
Me
definitely going to bring some
personally, I'm not
spice to
going
the
for
game.
it, but certainly.
I was hoping to see even just a Luna ban at the end from RIT and really leave both teams with nothing. I mean, we're gonna have a main support of an Atom and an Ultron here, but yeah, that's good with those bans. That's just gonna leave the Cloak and Dagger and Luna Snow as the main supports. I mean, they're all that's left. With the Mantis and the Invisible Woman gone. Looking at the tanks, though, I'm liking SSU's mix of this Groot with the Magneto. We haven't been seeing as much Groot as I feel like we should have been lately. But when we do see teams swap to it in the middle of the match, it typically works out pretty well in their favor. On the side of RIT, however, they're running a fairly similar comp, with the exception of the Emma Frost that they reserved, looking to kind of emphasize that brawl, and I want to say it might help them out, but I don't know. It's going to be hard to close the gap, especially with the long range damage that both these teams have DPS wise.
Certainly will be as we get into this first round here. We can really just look at these team comps like you were already going on. We have the deep depth charge, I think it is, deep charge, or for RIT, the Hella and Namor new team up. Certainly has been pretty strong in the previous weeks. We've seen a lot of teams gravitate towards this DPS duo comp here with the Hella and Namor, able to poking out and putting out a lot of damage to the enemy's supports, the backline, frontline, anything that they really need. And as we're going to see it in action here for both teams, as this point unlocks, it's really anyone's first pick.
Yeah, we see the Emma Frost falling low, and right now I think what's going to really open that door are these Groot walls, allowing for a cutoff. However, Twin Blue find a beautiful opening headshot onto No Busy Bob, and that's definitely going to open up the point in favor of SSU. We see that now as they begin swarming it. Tanks are pushed off as they're cut off by these Groot walls. They're not getting it up yet. Shock is doing their very best to stay on this point as they're kept alive by Krills, but that's too much damage. Shock will fall. Now Magneto is walled off as well, and here we can see the perfect use of those Groot walls. You're gonna have to use those DPS, take them down as much as possible, but I do think with that Groot over the Emma, it's just gonna be the advantage.
Certainly could be, as we're seeing SSU take this forward position now, really bringing the fight to RIT, not letting them get too comfortable before hitting this point again. We are seeing these ultimates available, but K9 takes two right away on the Namor. RIT should have a nice open door to walk into this point, but not before the Strangling Prism and the Horn of Proteus there from the Namor. SSU picking up a few kills of their own while committing a few of those ultimates. But at the end, it might be worth it if you're able to retain this point, but it just doesn't look like they're able to.
Yeah, we saw a lot of ults go on either side. It was a beautiful Strangling Prison from Cheese there. However, I think just having those support ultimates up, that's what you want. I did like the combo that SSU has going with the Namor ultimate as well. But right now, RIT was able to just come out on top, I think, with the assistance of double stacking both their support ultimates. SSU still has the Cloak and Dagger ult ready to go. However, that's why Wii Sports is holding on to this Meteor M. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that come out just now as Blubfish finds one. No Meteor M committed for the Cloak.
Yeah, already maybe saying that that fight was lost, pulling back, saving the ultimate economy there for RIT. Deciding not to commit it, just let them burn that Cloak and Dagger ult. Now they're going to be able to hit this back a little bit harder. They have that Meteor M, they have the Psionics Deduction, as well as the Goddess of Death, but it's not going to mean anything if Cheese is able to just get these picks here. Now pushing up maybe a little too far, as RIT is able to swing it right back the other way. Now down a tank, SSU is going to have to back up, or we're seeing exactly what happens. A few kills come through, the point gets swung right away, and that was all off of just an overextension of the tank there from SSU.
As well as an early pick onto Blubfish. RIT just did a phenomenal job of just kind of walking SSU down, getting some beautiful picks. Krill's picked up two, followed up by Busy Bob cleaning up with the Goddess of Death. And now we're going to have to see this Groot come in handy with these walls. Just give your team the cover, because right now RIT is looking, they're sitting pretty with their snipers just in the back line, shooting down this choke. But this corner that Shaq is able to play, it looks nice. Psionic Seduction will come out, but will be answered by the Goddess of Death as well as the ultimate to keep the team up. But we're not getting much pressure on the point off of that.
Not too much, and with an Eternal Bond coming down from the Riza, I forget how to pronounce that one now. The Cloak and Dagger out of RIT should send them spilling into SSU's backline here now. Able to take a few picks, getting even closer to the spawn door. But with the point at 90%, this seems to be the exact position you want to be in until SSU Cheese pulls out that portal, and now the sides are flipped. They're on the point. RIT is in their spawn. Now what do you do?
Yeah, Cheese indeed with the player, but RIT was pushed up so far. SSU was even able to flip that point. Now in control of it, popping a few ultimates. Kitsune Kami pops the Cloak and Dagger ult, answered by Krills and the Horn of Proteus on the side of RIT, finding Twin Blue. DPS down, that's advantage of SSU. RIT has a lot of ults ready to go. The Goddess of Death comes out on point, and that's going to be hard, forcing Cheese into the air, blocking that with shield. Beautiful tank. Shaq finds Dirty Ohio Bubble. Now it's looking a little rough for SSU as the remaining members of the team fall. It's not over yet, but I don't know who they have to contest. As RIT cleans up the rest of the team, we'll flip the point. I don't think we're going to be able to catch that contest in time, and that will be the first point in favor of RIT in a very first point here. That definitely went well for both teams.
Certainly did. I mean, we saw the strange portal come out from SSU, that kind of Hail Mary play. They were able to capitalize off it, take that point back, bring it to that 99%, but RIT in the end was able to withstand the storm there, bring it right back, and then take that 100%, guaranteeing them that first round. Now it's up to if RIT can close it out, make this a nice quick 2-0 capture map, or if SSU is just going to want to fight back a little bit harder, bring it to that round 3, and maybe even take it off of them.
Yeah, I will say, just looking at the stats as well, we see Wii Sports has no deaths right now, I believe, just 9-0, and that really goes to show RIT's playstyle of they're not overcommitting to fights, they're not throwing too many ultimates down where they don't need them. They're doing a good job that first point of just putting in exactly what they need, and when a team member falls early, like I think we saw towards the middle, Shock fell, and before the fight had even started, and RIT just gave SSU the point. They said, okay, we'll come back with the full team, and that's when we saw them flip the point back in their favor. So beautiful job of being able to recognize that. Starting though with an early psionic seduction blocked by the group wall, perfectly timed by Cheese. That was beautiful. However, we do see RIT with this point. Will contest, but won't be long enough as Dirty Ohio Bubble uses this to keep the rest of the team up. That's going to force RIT back. Rosino falling low will pop Look dagger ult, and that's going to flip the fight in favor of RIT here.
Yeah, and that's just what they needed to do. We saw the amazing counterplay there from Cheese on the Groot to save SSU from the psionic seduction. And then they used the Fate of Both Worlds there from Dirty Ohio Bubble. And like we were mentioning before, going into the second round here, RIT kind of just waits a second, waits that extra 1 or 2 seconds in the fight before popping the Eternal Bond from Cloak and Dagger. They sweep that on the point, paint it everywhere, and the team has enough sustain to take over SSU and now have a good lead on the point percentage here. Going into this next fight, however, SSU has quite the ultimate economy. This would be very tragic for them not to be able to swing this point their way.
Yeah, I'm expecting an opening Strangling Grasp here, a Strangling Prism from Groot. The map rotation's going to cut off RIT's supports from the rest of their team. However, they'll still be able to find that opening pick. When a Proteus comes down, they'll find support from RIT. 3 ultimates come out from RIT now. That's definitely going to help keep them up. SSU as well, answering with this dance battle on point. Still in control for RIT, holding this Ionic Seduction will come out, and that's going to help open a few more picks as well. Bubble protects Civis, keeping them alive. Krills will pick up Twin Blue. That's the DPS and support of SSU down. Just this Groot left on point with a Luna, or a Cloak shooting in the back, but that's going to be RIT taking this point, winning that beautifully. Not too contested. SSU holding a lot of their ultimates, which is going to help as they pop this Strange Portal back to point.
Twin Blue takes to the skies, Goddess of Death. Wii Sports Music strikes down the Cloak and Dagger with that Meteor M. RIT is now in a very favorable spot as they're able to pick up a few more of these kills. And we're seeing SSU die with a few of these very crucial ultimates that could have helped them there. And RIT is just going to take that second point very decisively. It looked like SSU was just too shaken from that first round to really bolster themselves on that second point. It's really sad to see there because that first round was so hard fought. It could definitely go the distance. But RIT really locked in on that second round and just didn't give SSU any chance, really.
Yeah, I mean, right out of that Strange Portal, we saw Wii Sports Music with a beautiful Meteor M onto Kitsune Kami. And, I mean, there's really no saying how the fight would have gone with that. Just keeping the team up a little longer would have opened a lot more opportunities for SSU to come back there. And just that early shutdown before the ultimate was even used was just beautiful and really shut down SSU's final push before it even started. And that's just beautiful play from Wii Sports Music, 20-0. doing a phenomenal show on that Magneto. I think SSU needs to try and answer a little bit better in the sense of their picks. It's kind of hard because it was mostly a mirror matchup, but I don't know. I was liking the group pick, and Cheese is the VP here, but I feel like they're just with the Emma, they're able to stay alive a lot easier than a Groot would up in the front line, even though those walls can help. I think that No Busy Bop and K9 are doing a good job of just tearing them down when they can.
Yeah, SSU might have to hit the drawing board here, really recognize what threats RIT is bringing to this table, maybe ban some different characters if they're feeling confident enough with it, or just go for a team comp swap up. But at the end here, I just think they were, like I said, a little too shaken from that first point. You know, a hard fought victory, and then RIT just comes out swinging even stronger in the second point. And it, like I said, RIT really shut the door on SSU there. And if they're able to carry this over into the second and third map, we might see a very quick game here. I think SSU might need to take just a step back real quick, really look at what RIT is doing, and try to counterplay them.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't be surprised if they might go for that Emma or Magneto ban now. Um, but looking immediately here, we're looking at SSU's pick of um, Convoy Midtown, which I believe is, uh, yeah, it's like it's not a map we've visited yet this season, I don't think. Um, typically
Surprisingly, no.
teams typically teams go for like the convergence points second. So I'm interested to see how SSU is looking to perform on this map. I definitely think with a few more narrow pathways and a more centered objective for one team to play, the Groot could shine here. But for right now, SSU is going to be opening these picks and bans immediately with that Emma. Reserved to, I believe it was SSU that had saved it previously. Maybe a regret on their part.
Or
Was it
RIT did
RIT?
save it last round. Yep,
Oh,
and
okay.
that was their first save, and SSU knew that. So instead of letting them even get to that first save, they're immediately going to take out that Emma. Did not have too much fun playing against that hero. Totally understand it. So they're going to go with the Groot save, pretty much setting Cheese right back up on this Groot. We saw some really nice walls, some really amazing ults coming down from the Groot as well. It just ended up coming up a little short there to the team RIT brought to the table. Going with this Namor ban as well, I think they're really starting to hit the team that RIT just beat them with, and trying to see, how deep do the hero pools of RIT go? Are they able to play other heroes still? Or as efficiently as they were just playing that Emma, the Namor, the Hela, Magneto, such and such?
Yeah, exactly. And I will say I'm excited to see this Bucky save. It's always a delight getting a Winter Soldier on both teams. So I'm hoping to see maybe some exciting Kraken impacts there. But like you said, SSU just trying to get rid of everything that kind of went poorly for them. The Namor definitely, I believe it was K9 was the MVP on that Namor
Mm-hmm.
last game, and it seems like RIT, and I'm just kind of basing this off of their picks here, and I don't know if I should, considering they have three things, but K9 might already be looking for a swap in that DPS prior to this. However, that is going to leave the Magneto save for RIT, and that's not too surprising. Magneto is one of those characters that, unless one player is just getting completely diffed, which I don't think we've really seen yet, it's usually just a pretty solid pick for both teams. SSU, though, will stay true to this Mantis ban and will be keeping the Luna Snow, which, I mean, definitely carried a lot of those fights. It felt like um, that ultimate saved a lot of points, and it was a great counter to the Groot ultimate, but that is in favor of RIT, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, Luna still pretty highly favored, even though she was recently nerfed. That ultimate is nowhere near as potent as it used to be, but still having that wide AoE heals and possibly the damage amplification come out is still such a strong utility ultimate. that it is still favored amongst a lot of teams, as we're seeing both teams pull out that Luna here. I like what we're seeing from RIT, however, bringing the Thor to the field. No Busy Bop on the Storm as well. Really seeing some different picks from RIT in the previous weeks. I don't think we've seen a Thor or a Storm, actually.
I feel like the first week we did see a bit of Thor, but that's what
A
you
Thor?
get for
Okay,
even
okay.
mentioning it as it gets swapped off. We'll wait a
He
second
heard.
here.
Shaq,
Maybe.
please.
Maybe.
Please,
They're
Shaq.
leaving spawn.
There we go. It looks like it's going to be locked
They are
in.
going to go with the Groot. That's interesting. It looks like they're running the goats right now, actually. RIT.
They are.
Triple support, triple tank. Not something we've seen, and I am all for it to see how it goes. Definitely going to be interesting playing. They're playing really far up, too. What are they doing over here? This is interesting. They are brawling outside of SSU Spawn, who's running this 2-2-2 comp. However, they actually have this magic emphasizing this dive, and that's something I'd like to see. You have this strong shield front pressure. Never mind, we're gonna. Looks like the benefits of being right outside Spawn is you can just swap just like that. Bloodfish swapping to this Squirrel Girl and getting insane value in this close quarters fight. RIT's looking rough as Shaq falls. Rizosaur follows up, and RIT as well, just falling. I'll just say it, I'm really questioning what RIT's intentions were there. I mean, it's hard enough fighting right outside the spawn. It's kind of hard to get those picks, but, I mean, even then, this portal will allow them to come back really quick. It feels like it's just going to be a feed. I mean, the whole team's not up. Nobody's ready. We'll get K9 back onto this Punisher, which will be hopefully some good damage out. But right now, it just feels like RIT is just too staggered to do anything.
Yeah, it was a very brawl-heavy first point attempt there from RIT. Maybe feeling just a little too good after that first map. Now we're seeing Cheese set up that Strangling Prison, get those walls in place, beat down RIT. And I think that's the second team wipe, second or maybe even close to third team wipe now RIT has had. It doesn't really seem to be working. I'm not too sure what RIT was going for there, but they seem to lost all of their momentum. SSU is just barreling down this point right now, taking that first point extremely fast, starting on the second, just looking for any picks while having a huge ult economy. The final judgment comes out from K9, and SSU just runs away. They just let him waste those bullets elsewhere.
I don't blame him. Agamotto comes out, you'll find Cheese, but Bubble has already popped this ultimate. Bloodfish will pop the magic ultimate and fall as well. Darkchild falling short as RIT is, I mean, they're looking better. I was gonna joke about maybe this is just like the false hope strategy where you just let the team kind of roll over you and then shut them down and just have a 10-minute hold on last, but kind of looks like what RIT is doing. They swap back into this 2-2-2 comp and it's looking pretty good for them. However, we haven't seen SSU's large positive ultimates yet. Only played defensively so far.
I'm sure we should start seeing them soon. The Meteor M from Wii Sports comes out to eat the Goddess of Death projectiles that Twin Blue is putting down. A great counter ultimate there. We're seeing support ultimates across the field right now. Civis just dropped the Eye of Agamotto, but there are still support ults to be burned. No one's gonna die just yet, as Wii Sports will find Bloodfish. Dirty Bubble did just pop the Fate of Both Worlds there. I guess did not catch the magic in it. We're getting a little more aggressive now. SSU seems to be finding these picks. There goes both of the supports. The Omega Hurricane is out from No Busy Bop, however.
Oh!
That's 2 kills going near Cheese. Not going to be able to pick him up. But RIT should be able to contest this point again now.
Yeah, RIT looking really low, though, as they're trying to wait for these supports to get back. And unfortunately, that group wall is going to prevent the line of sight, and that's going to be 2 members of RIT falling. Shaq has this eye ready to pop. Not many members to hit, though, as SSU just pushes in. RIT, with this Eye of Agamotto, doesn't hit anything, and that's going to be SSU capping this second point. 4 minutes on the clock, and they're looking pretty healthy here.
Yeah, it just seems like everything that could go wrong for RIT right now is going wrong for them. They really have no solid footing here. They had that one fight on the second point where it started to look like they were getting everything back together, and then SSU just drops a few ultimates, pushes down the door, and it's just right back into this steamroll position that SSU was on. The final judgment from K9, once again trying to come out to stop this push. But really, SSU is just playing their cover too well for K9 to get any value out of that huge ultimate.
I mean, it's like bugs when you lift up a rock, they just scramble and disappear when that ultimate's popped. However, SSU is just going to be able to snap back here with this Dark Child, forcing RIT back to their spawn. And we're not seeing any big ultimates, but both these teams are pretty passive in the sense that they hear one pop and they're gone. You know, they're like, okay, let's just let the timer run out on that one. However, we have a few more active ultimates coming up that aren't so avoidable, like this Eye of Agamotto, maybe this Hella ultimate ready as well. I think we're going to see this Strangling Prison coming up as online as well. Beautiful hit, Magneto up on this top. What is... no, that's Shivas up top. Prison comes out with Goddess of Death. We'll find K9, and Cloak Ult will come out both sides, popping these supports. Triple Eye of Agamotto, but it's going to be kept alive. Meteor M looking for a pick, will find Bloodfish, as we have this Thor ultimate followed up by Krills, trying to fall back. SSU's falling back. However, the ultimate from Kitsuno Kami is going to help push SSU back into the winning position. Finding a pick on the Shock as well as Wii Sports Music. That's RIT's tanks down. The Storm ultimate's going to be able to come out, looking for this contest, and it will be in time. The Cloak ultimate saves them. That's going to be 1, 2, make it 3! 4! A beautiful ultimate from No Busy Bob, followed up by K9 as well. Beautiful last-minute contest from RIT.
Yeah, No Busy Bop popping that Omega Hurricane, desperately trying anything they can to stop SSU, coming up huge there with a few kills, running the entire team off the point, sent back to spawn, but not before Civis is right back in with a Strange Portal. Don't forget, we were just fighting here. Bloodfish takes the first one on Shock. Grills and No Busy Bop, however, return with 2 picks of their own. RIT now up in this battle. No ultimates to be popped just yet for either team. This is just coming down to the raw mechanics. We see K9 execute 2 of SSU. Now getting on this point, looking for more tanks to eat with that shotgun. And there is RIT defending against that strange portal.
Yeah, I mean, this is a hero-based shooter. You know, you have all these special abilities, but not much compares to just a spaz on point shooting up the tanks. K9 finds beautiful picks as this Punisher. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that Punisher ban from SSU later on, but this point's not over yet. Throwing up this turret, no portal available for SSU, with a lot of ultimates in the pocket. Not so much for RIT. They're getting there though. These high 80s, 70s, and they're getting pretty aggressive here. 39 seconds left. Early ultimate popped from Dirty Ohio Bubble, and I'm gonna like it as long as we're using it to get some space, but I'm hoping to see some opening picks. Not much. That's just going to be RIT now, popping this final judgment, finding Cheese, looking for more Dark Childs out from Bloodfish, but that Cloak ult's going to keep them up, and RIT is sitting pretty.
They absolutely are. K9 with a huge final judgment there, the biggest that they've had all game yet. RIT stabilizing once again, and SSU, if they're not able to get a touch here with that Captain America, a nice pushback from Wii Sports Music, and that is where RIT will draw the line in the sand, say you can get those first 2, but we're not letting you get all 3. Now all they have to do is just replicate what SSU did.
Yeah, exactly.
Simple as.
And maybe not replicate like the first point per se. Or I should, yeah, I guess RIT wants to. My bad. SSU doesn't really want to replicate what RIT did on that first point. And I'm interested to know now. I mean, we saw RIT doing a phenomenal job on that defense. How would that have changed if they had just held the first point? You know, if they did, I'm not gonna say put the effort in, but running goats and Marvel Rivals, in a very confined space right outside the attacker spawn certainly isn't the go-to strategy, right? But definitely brings some excitement into the games. SSU though, definitely running a pretty standard comp, running that same, I believe the same comp that they got offline with RIT as well, but we see a few swaps, however. We see Rosino off of that cloak onto the rocket, and Shaq actually on this Wolverine, which I think is going to do them pretty, help them out pretty well against this Groot Strange.
Certainly will. RIT not looking to be as brawly as they were at the start of the round last time. Still ready to take the fight with this Wolverine. Unable to get that pull there. Going to be hitting it, hiding behind the cart, waiting for those cooldowns to be right back up, and we're going to see them go right back in, looking for that group for sure. But until that first pick comes down, I don't think RIT is going to be able to get too much further on this first point, because SSU will start to put on the brakes here with that Groot, with that Doctor Strange. They have the damage mitigation potential, but there goes the Strange into the back line of RIT. Able to make it out for now. And still we have yet to see a kill, but there's Twin Blue picking up first and a third. We're seeing SSU now starting to get these picks and push RIT back.
Yeah, very beautiful hold from SSU, and pardon my knowledge here, I think I saw like some kind of binding chain on Busy Bop and Shaq there. Do you know what that is?
I believe that was the Arcane Order team up that Strange enables for Magic now.
Oh yes, that's right.
Chain them together. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Forgot about that. But yeah, we see RIT already regaining control of this point. Magic on this left, just looking for the poke. I think once they move through here, SSU is going to be looking a little prettier. However, RIT not getting slowed down. Gonna pop K9's ultimate. Ohio Bubble will keep the team up. Rosino back on this cloak, will pop the ultimate. Going deep into this backline, looking to play some DPS on this cloak. And that's going to be RIT looking pretty good. Unfortunately, Kitsuno Kami is going to pop this to keep the team up. I say unfortunately, however, I think that's going to open the door for Civis to portal, and that's going to be perfect timing. Ayabakumoto ready to pop soon. Pop this Storm ultimate, looking for some damage in the back. Twin Blue with this Goddess of Death shooting on point. We Sport Music will find a support for SSU. That's 2 members of SSU down. Make it 4. Looking for 5, and RIT doesn't need to commit any more ultimates to this point. Looking pretty good, and that's a beautiful cap. Not as fast as SSU, but certainly just as efficient.
Yeah, we have to get a petition going for Wii Sports Music to be put in the NBA here. This guy just does not miss those Meteor M's. Never will he. Every time we've seen those ultimates, Wii Sports Music, what a GOAT Magneto player. Going to charge it back up now. RIT playing just a little forward here. Setting up on that high ground. K9 with the Punisher turret as well. Going to be laying down just consistent damage into the backline here. SSU is starting to pull back just a little bit as RIT still taking space. Blubfish will fall early. And
beautiful shot. Sport Music there onto that Magic. Able to get aggressive here. The Wolverine ultimate comes down, and that's going to open up more picks. I mean, SSU just felt instant. They just fell immediately. That one Wolverine ult cleaned up by no Busy Bob. And like you said, that Magneto, Wii Sports, I mean, according to the Twitch chat here, Wii Sports has quite the resume on them with what they've done. So a lot of support for this Magneto player, and we can definitely see that portrayed in their gameplay here. We're going to see Shaq swapping over this Thor, though. I know you like to see that.
I do. What I am curious to see, though, something we haven't seen, Civis is going to be playing this Daredevil. Now, I believe a legal character to play. 91% to this ultimate. I think so. I would hope so, or they wouldn't be playing.
Yeah.
That'll be really funny to find out.
I'm excited.
Absolutely. Now, the Dark Child from Blubfish coming out. A nice dash. Claims Busy Bop. Another falls. Now looking for another support. That slash will take out Shaq. And that's exactly what you want to see if you're SSU. RIT has 3.5 minutes to burn on this last point. It's not impossible to hold them. SSU knows that for a fact. But RIT, with all of their ultimates, ready to start dropping them.
Exactly. I'm looking forward to the Civis letting the devil out here. Beautiful Ohio Bubble ultimate to cancel the Storm ultimate. That's going to allow SSU to just immediately come back again. Civis picking up one, Twin Blue Cheese as well. And that's just another clean sweep from SSU on this defense. I mean, it feels like we're seeing RIT do a good job of pushing in and making space, which I think is something SSU struggled with on this last point here. But I think the problem is SSU just kind of has the better answers. They're doing a good job of responding. K9's going to pop this final judgment. Meteor M's going to come out. Not going to find any hits. Kusunokami, though, keeping the team up. Krills with a late Luna Snow ultimate. That's what you like to see. K9 falls to Twin Blue. Devil comes out. That's going to be a lot of damage down as that's one. However, will fall to Shaq. The Resinosaur looking for picks in the back. Will find Dirty Ohio Bubble as well as just pressuring this back line. And it feels like SSU is starting to break as RIT wins this final point. Not over yet, though. Wins this final push. Just keeping SSU held back in their spawn, but they have to be careful not to overextend too far as they're waiting for this point to come around this corner. SSU, though, looking like they have the ultimate advantage with both of these DPS ults ready to go and the Luna Snow ready to come out. Meteor M, though, from Wii Sports Music could be a huge savior against it.
We see the fate of both worlds come out early from Dirty Ohio Bubble. Going to be on this point now. The Dark Child also from Blubfish looking for any pick here that they're able to get. Dashing all over. The Magneto Shield is going to be huge from Wii Sports. Will negate that kill that I think Blubfish would have been able to secure there. Now going to have to pull back with the rest of the team. SSU now going to be on the defensive as RIT is about to get these ultimates back up. With a huge opening pick from K9.
Yeah, that's insane. Getting rid of that support that early, shutting down that ult charge. Beautiful Meteor M from both Cheese and Wii Sports Music. Twin Blue picking up two, though, with this Goddess of Death. Wii Sports will find Civis not out of the game yet. The bubble. Oh! No! Will fall there. Looking for the 3K. Twin Blue will survive, though. Oh, Wii Sports Music, you can only do so much. Right now, 50 seconds left on the clock. It's looking a little rough for RIT. They have a lot of ultimates in the pocket. K9 now swapping over to this Bucky. I think those pulls could be really helpful in trying to find these opening picks, assuming Twin Blue and Blubfish don't get any immediate long-range picks. Beautiful ultimate in the back is going to force out Tsunokami's Cloak Dagger ult earlier. Xeno answers with their own. And now it's just the Luna Snows with their ults.
Civis will let the devil out, but we're seeing RIT with an ult storm on that point, and with 10 seconds left, they will roll this payload to the final point and secure map number 2.
Yes, exactly. That I think that letting the devil out there with that Daredevil pick was beautiful. Opened up a lot of damage onto the opposing team, and then I think that allowed, I think it was Shaq on the Thor to just get a beautiful ultimate, pick up the 3K, and that just allowed RIT to just clean up in the end. Beautiful take from them, bringing this score now to 2-0, and it's rough too because SSU, they definitely have their work cut out for them. They're doing a good job as well, keeping up and answering to these. I really like the flexibility SSU is showing. I think RIT is just kind of, they have these last final pushes in them that I feel like SSU was struggling to get.
Absolutely, and I mean, we even saw some comp swap ups for SSU there, or I should say the heroes that they were playing, and it just wasn't able to fully stop RIT. We saw some amazing fights from SSU there, able to win a significant amount of those battles, almost completely push that payload all the way. But RIT is just able to match it. And I mean, we had 10 seconds left on that timer. these teams are very evenly matched. It just seems like RIT, the coordination is just a little bit better right now as they're pulling out with these wins, just squeaking by most of the time against SSU here. Going into this third map, however, I think SSU does have the pick again. They're going to send us to another comfortable map of theirs. And I can only imagine that we're going to have another extremely close battle like we just saw.
Yeah, exactly. And like always, I think it's going to come down to these picks and bans. I wouldn't be surprised if SSU were kind of the hard part is remembering the first point as well. It's easy to have that recency bias and just say, okay, yeah, that Storm sucked, that Thor sucked, that Magneto sucked, and kind of forget the issues that happened on the first point. So it's a hard balance of um, keeping track of what really is the most significant danger. But for RIT right now, I think their strength is definitely this Magneto. Cheese is doing a phenomenal job on it as well. So it is that kind of balance of you got to get rid of it, but that means your team's missing out on it as well. So I would say either that Magneto or that Punisher is just doing absolute work for RIT.
Yeah, and we see that in the stats a little bit. I believe it's K9 bringing that Punisher and the Winter Soldier to the table, finishing that last map with MVP, I believe, doing significant work to the side of SSU there, laying down some incredible damage, able to send RIT propelling forward, taking the first two maps, now onto the third map here. It seems like RIT just does not have to change too much, because even when they do change and they go goats and, you know, try to rush down SSU and get beaten up a little bit, they just change up the comp to what they know, lock right back in, and win like they know how to.
Exactly. Right now, the picks are looking pretty similar. That Emma ban, I'm happy to see from SSU, knowing the fact that it was very powerful. Actually, going to opt to reserve the Invisible Woman now. That's a change from RIT being able to ban it. And like you said, of RIT knowing what they want, that's something we love to see. Again, when a team just forces the other team to pick into them, and they know the picks and bans that works against their team. They don't need to adapt to the other team. That's what shows great team comp and play style from them. And that's why we can see this consistent Venom ban as they say, hey, we don't want to deal with dive. Maybe the DPS we can take care of, but this Venom, no thank you. Reserving this Bucky as well, we saw a little bit of it at the end from Krills. I think it was only, or I think it was Krill's, only like a single
K9.
push with it. It was K9, okay.
Yeah.
But this time RIT is going to opt to ban this Groot. They had just enough of it. They said no more. Important to note SSU as well, even though they reserved this Invisible Woman, they are going to ban the Luna Snow, which I mean makes sense. It's kind of just trading one big circle ultimate for another.
I mean, essentially, when you look at it like that, and RIT is now going to save that cloak and dagger. We've seen some crazy plays here from the Rhinosaur, doing some incredible ultimates on the point, incredible patience as well, saving those eternal bonds for exactly when the team needs them. SSU now with a magic save. This is likely just going to be going back to.
I think you cut out there.
RIT
but yeah.
was going to ban. Oh, okay.
No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, that magic save is definitely going to be showing SSU trying to keep consistent with what they were doing last game, recognizing what they did well. I think that magic was pretty significant. I feel like the one trouble with it is that you really have to have a team comp that leans into it. A magic can be pretty good, but in these high division teams, it's easy for a team to just call it out. You know, this isn't a random lobby where you're solo queuing and you don't really have the teammates that are listening. These teams are very well put together, have great communication, so it's much harder to play that dive into them. However, I mean, we're not seeing this magic pick yet. I won't speak on it too much, but we are going to see that strange ban likely to try and shut down that magic comp and just in general those strange portals. We saw one on this point, I think 2 weeks ago. just absolute game changer. Then, not a unsurprising ban. Looking at the team comps as well, we're seeing a Thing pick as well as this Phoenix, which I don't, and Moon Knight. I mean, pretty off meta here, and definitely something I'm excited to see.
Off meta may be, but certainly strong characters in their own, and put in the very capable hands of Twin Blue and Blubfish here. I think SSU has a very strong team to start attacking, especially against RIT's team. No Busy Bop going to be floating in the air, but I don't think Blubfish is going to like that very much. I think we might see this Storm have to swap as long as Blubfish, and I should really say the side of SSU, is able to keep them down.
Yeah, it does depend though. I mean, this map is pretty good when it comes to verticality and its cover. I mean, I think Busy Bop has a lot of corners and walls to play around out of the sight of that back line. However, that's a beautiful pick on a Civis opening. A Thing falling that early is very surprising. Beautiful pick from esports music, of course. No Busy Bop picking up cheese. With both your tanks down, that's going to be SSU forced to just back up. Maybe right now they're able to analyze, recognize if they do need to make any swaps. However, it's definitely a little early. Important to note, Twin Blue already with this ultimate, as well as K9. And if we're getting a Kraken impact 1 minute into the game, I think it's setting up for a great match.
Yeah, we're in for a treat, absolutely. This Hand of Khonshu, like you mentioned, is available for SSU, however. It's going to decide on when they choose to use it. We saw some high ground there. Twin Blue does drop it down. Will claim K9 and Busy Bop. That is 2 huge picks for the side of SSU now. Wii Sports not going to let him take those without falling as well. The Moon Knight is down, but SSU is in the lead in this fight. Invisible Boundary committed as well. And now we're going to start to see these picks come through. And unless RIT has that Strange Portal up and ready to go, I just don't think there's a touch for this first point.
No, I don't think so. That was a beautiful Hand of Khonshu from Twin Blue to open up that first point, as well as the support from the Cloak and Dagger to just dive in the back line and open up that push for SSU, not even really giving RIT a chance to answer. And now that's going to be pushing into the second point, I believe, just after 2 minutes, which isn't that bad. Right now, we already see SSU pushing up and trying to hold this corner choke. It can be pretty hard to get stuck back at this first point. Busy Bop, though, looking to shut it down, popping this Storm ultimate. Looking for one, but the Cloak's going to be able to get out. Twin Blue will fall to Wii Sports Music, though. With the Moon Knight down, that's a significant amount of your damage. Allows you and your team to stay together much more efficiently. Phoenix Ult will come down. Find Kitsuno Kami from Shaq. I think that's going to be RIT just regaining control of this point, but maybe not for too long. SSU spawn is right here. They can just respawn, come right back. SSU's picks are going to last a lot longer than RIT's.
Cheese walked into that invisible boundary with that Meteor M popped, ready to strike down Krills if they found him. Unfortunately, they didn't, but SSU will just wait that boundary out and then eventually pick up those kills just like that. Get this point getting very close to this cap here. RIT kind of grasping at straws right now. They do have these ultimates up and available. We're going to start to see him come down now. God of Thunder strikes down Dirty Bubble. The Kraken Impact came out as well. No resets available, but the picks are there, and RIT has run SSU off the point.
Yeah, doing a good job as well. I know Shaq opened out that fight with a beautiful ultimate, as we saw. I think it was Civis trying to snipe him out of the air because they were 1 HP, but was able to open that pick onto, I believe it was the Cloak and Dagger for SSU. And that support down, that's a big advantage. Right now, though, we see SSU able to push back. This Moon Knight's just going to be able to free farm with how this team is playing. Hand of Khonshu ready to pop. Beautiful positioning, but maybe a little too far as K9 fights a headshot onto Twin Blue. And Twin Blue doesn't pick up any picks with that Hand of Khonshu. We're going to see SSU now just kind of falling back, trying to stay a little passive, knowing where their main DPS is down. They need to fall back. However, that's going to open the door for RIT to get aggressive, push in, finding Blubfish, finding Civis, picking up cheese and just cleaning up the rest of SSU. And that just goes to show what one accidental feed can do to your team.
Yeah, at this point in the map, you know, with how open this second point is here, I would have imagined Busy Bop to have a lot more pressure on them and maybe even be forced to swap. I think SSU is starting to recognize that. We see Twin Blue now swapping to the Hella, getting picked immediately, however. Shaq making me eat my words live on stream. There goes Twin Blue and Blubfish. And we're seeing the Storm Supremacy stronger than ever. The Meteor M from Cheese, however, comes down, not able to pick up the Cloak and Dagger. As this fight is still sprawled out on point, RIT finding the picks, finding the secures. And with 1 minute and a little bit of time remaining, SSU is really going to have to start getting their act together here.
I mean, it feels like they're just stuck in spawn. 60 seconds left. We're not seeing any swaps. I guess we can count Twin Blue. They didn't even really get the chance. However, but RIT's looking like they have the ultimate advantage here. They have the Meteor M to answer to Katsuno if needed. Busy Bop as well. He's going to pop this, maybe find Twin Blue. However, that invisible boundary is going to keep all of SSU alive. Going to be answered by Krills, though. Having that support ultimate come up later in the fight gives your team the advantage. Kraken Impact comes down, that's going to be one. They get two, looking for the third onto the thing. Oh, we'll get blocked by the environment to keep it going, but I mean at that point it would just be overkill. As we see Cheese in this back line, 25 seconds left, and SSU is just, feels like they're scrapped for answers.
Yeah, with this potentially being the last fight here, SSU's a good ways away from that capture point. They're going to have to win this fight and potentially a second as well against this very formidable RIT team. We see Shock with that God of Thunder. Wasn't able to get it up right away because of the thing. The field stopped him. Will find the pick, however, onto the Invisible Woman, which is absolutely huge for RIT. SSU being choked of their supports, but Twin Blue coming up huge with 2 picks of their own. SSU now takes the lead, pushing RIT back into this room, forcing them to regroup.
They do have this Cloak ultimate though, and SSU has a long distance to push. Meteor M comes out to try and shut down the Cloak, but it's not going to find the kill. It wasn't charged enough. Wii Sports now on this Captain America, definitely a pick of all kind. K9 finding one of the Twin Blue. Kraken Impact picking up a second on Ohio Bubble. Make it a third, make it a fourth, make it a fifth, make it a... K9 finding the 6K with the help of Busy Bop. Beautiful way to clean up this final second point for RIT.
Yeah, that was just cinema there from the Bucky at the end, getting the resets, the classic move, the Kraken Impact, and then again, and again. Certainly not what you want to hear if you're SSU there. However, they did initially take that first fight. I'm not sure if they got the point any further than they already had it, but they did show some signs of life there, and now they know what they have to do. They know how far that RIT is allowed to push. Ideally, you want to hold them at this first point here, but we're going to have to see what SSU decides to go for on their defense here now, with a potential Thor pick of their own.
Yeah, exactly. SSU, I mean, this is when we have to look at their team and their comp and just what's working well and what's not, because right now, this is the final moment for them. There is no second chances after this. They have to win this point. They have to win this map. They have to then go on to win 2 more maps if they want the chance to take this win and continue their win streak right now. RIT again was coming off a loss. They're here to win. We can definitely see that now in their gameplay. SSU though, I don't know. I feel like Civis onto this DPS role might be what we need to see. I like that they're not swapping characters, they're swapping these team comps. Blubfish now on the tank. What I like to see, I like this positioning. Hopefully it'll work out for SSU, and it's not just a desperate grasp for answers. What is this Punisher skin?
That's Punisher and a Speedo, man. Get with the times. This is what everyone is running. RIT now getting very close to this point, looking for that opening pick, or maybe just the displacement enough to find something. SSU not really giving them any answers just yet. I do like the Thor Magneto from SSU. Really says, you know, if RIT wants to get scrappy, we'll get scrappy with them, but not before Wii Sports is able to open up this fight yet again. Both Magnetos now claiming a pick for their team. Going to be a 5v5. The Eternal Bond comes through from Dirty Bubble, but he didn't catch two of their teammates. Instead, they will claim two enemies and balance it out.
I was like, man, I'm kind of disappointed with how far back Dirty Bubble's going with this whole group. Was looking for picks, I guess, but you know what? I'll eat my words as they pick up two. It will fall, though, and it's not over for SSU. As RIT is holding this point. Two members of their Civis has this ultimate ready to go, but not the team to support it. 2:30 on the clock. And that's going to be a cracking impact from K9. Finding one. Looking for a second. Finding it onto Katsuno Kami. Missing the tank, though. Not going to matter too much, though, as Wii Sports Music is able to easily pick up two. Meteor M's going to come out. Get dodged by Grills, and that's going to be first point for RIT. 4:30 on the clock. Pretty similar to what SSU had, though. Difference is SSU feels pretty staggered in this. They need to get out. Punisher very out of position. And SSU really needs to find their ground.
Yeah, definitely going for that full regroup right now, getting the entire team back together, realizing that RIT is maybe one, maybe two fights away from shutting this map out, pushing that point fully to the limit there. But SSU taking some high ground, looking for these picks here, but instead fighting seemingly an uphill battle. Omega Hurricane pop. Wii Sports Music goes absolutely huge with that Meteor M, finds three to the face, and I think that will just be it for RIT.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to see a close clutch here, but somebody that can save someone from drowning, fight alcoholism, I mean, support recovery, just this guy can do everything, including play Magneto. We see that here, and I mean, I wouldn't be scratched to say they carried a lot of these team fights with these opening picks, these ultimates. Wii Sports Music just absolutely playing LeBron with these Meteor M's. Definitely deserves this MVP here.
Certainly does. I would even go as far to say MVP of the night. We just saw countless ultimates, the great shields, a lot of those opening picks, like you mentioned, just going the way of RIT off the back of Wii Sports Music there. Incredible Magneto gameplay. GG's to both teams here tonight, but we do have RIT walking away with a very clean and respectable 3-0 victory.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I do want to give SSU credit where it is. Shawnee did a phenomenal job of being able to adapt and do what they can to respond to Orange. It just felt like there were certain situations and just minor picks that altered it. And I think it really just came down to the very fine details of just a single headshot making the difference in some of these team fights. And that's something that's always exciting to see. I think RIT, though, just had a lot more of that team play, and they were put on that defensive side a lot more, which opened the gates for them to have that fallback, if that makes sense. They felt like they were more in that better position to regroup compared to SSU. But regardless, congratulations to RIT for the win, and good game to both teams. Any final words from you, Inferno?
Yeah, GG's to both teams. Make sure you tune in to the rest of the ECAC streams throughout the week. We will be back for more Marvel Rivals content next week on Wednesday, yet again. Yeah, once again, GG's to both teams. Amazing game. Thank you, everyone, for coming out.